Well, with polls opening in less than 24 hours, Americans are obviously nervous about how a new administration will impact our taxes, our retirement, our personal economies. So here to talk about that and so much more is Ohio's retirement coach, Greg Taylor from Legacy Retirement Group. Happy Monday, Greg.
Happy Monday.
All right, it is time. This is such a timely, obviously, topic today with the elections coming up tomorrow. So we're going to get started with this one. How should pre-retirees and retirees have their portfolios structured during this time of political uncertainty? Kind of a loaded question there.
It really is. You know, something that we've seen as a trend is a lot of people have just been holding off until after the election to make wholesale changes in their strategies or their portfolios and other things. And, you know, we've seen some tremendous downs and ups in the markets here in recent days. Even today, the market's up, tremendously already. And but what we've seen overall is that we've seen kind of a sideways market. But history tells us something, that after a two-term president, since 1920 anyway, we've seen a decline in the markets.
Okay.
So we need to have a strategy in place, Robin, where we can have some predictability. I don't think anybody's really concerned if they drop 5 or 10%. I mean, we don't want that, but
sure. But you can recover from that.
And very quickly. But
yeah.
What we're trying to avoid is a 20%, 30, 40% drop in our portfolios, because that starts to affect our emotions. It makes it hard to stay true to our overall objective. So having strategies in place to make our portfolios more predictable, I think, is a really important thing at this point, regardless of who's elected. The main thing is to be able to keep your emotions in check. So there's technology today that allows people to set what their comfort zone is. So if your comfort zone is 10%, then you can have strategies that alert you and keep you informed and let you know when it's time to make some wholesale changes. And I think that's very, very important for those that are getting near retirement to start thinking about using tactical strategies rather than just riding that roller coaster we call the stock market.
Sure. All right, Greg, number 2, what is the likelihood that a new administration will make changes to Social Security and to Medicare?
Well, that's a fear, I think, of everyone that's getting ready to retire. Are they going to change Medicare? Are they going to change Social Security? I think long term, Social Security is at a place where we're going to have to start raising the age at which people can take it, because people are living longer and longer. I don't see that happening for the next few years, people coming along, but I think the people in their 20s and 30s should probably be looking at maybe age 70 before they can start claiming Social Security. Medicare is not doing well as far as, financially, and overall, with the debt we have as a country, we have to start thinking about what's that going to do to our taxes in order to keep Medicare afloat.
Okay.
Because I don't see it going away. The government really doesn't want to give up control, it doesn't seem. So they want to keep those programs in place, and certainly we don't want our retirees to lose benefits.
Exactly. There's going to be some restructuring at some level in regards to that. All right, number 3, Greg, if the Fed raises interest rates after the election, how will that impact my retirement accounts?
Well, here's the thing. People that have been CD buyers all their life, they're going to love it if the Fed raises interest rates. They're going to love to get something better than a 1 or 2% rate of return on a certificate of deposit. But that will affect people's bond portfolios. And, a lot of us have gone to a bond in order to reduce the risk and volatility of stocks. Well, bonds have volatility as well. And if interest rates rise and the value of bonds declines, and so that's kind of that perfect storm that we have to be careful of.
Okay, Greg, let's get to number 4. Do you recommend insurance products as part of an overall retirement plan? If so, which one?
Well, certainly insurance products is something that you have to look at. Whether or not it's appropriate is depending on what people are trying to achieve. It's simply a tool in the box, so to speak. Certain types of life insurance where you can grow money inside and get decent rates of return inside the life insurance, and then pull money out on a tax-free basis is something, as a tax-free loan, is certainly something that certain people look at, especially business owners that can't use Roth IRAs. And then, whether it be long-term care to protect from, spending your assets down, or certain types of annuities to guarantee income for lifetimes, those are things that we just have to see what people are trying to achieve. But we certainly use those when it's appropriate.
Okay, Greg, and as always, if you have a question for Greg, he answered obviously 4 of them today. He'd love to answer yours.
Yes.
Questions at ohiosretirementcoach.com is that email address. And of course, Greg, sticking around, so don't go away. Kristen is joining us next to dig deeper into the election and how it might affect your retirement.